is where I'd love to be, but I've really struggled with it. And I'm not sure if that was part of the middle ground or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if all these things are on a line, then we need to work out how much of these things are in that.
Yeah.
Is there a time, so do you mind moving on to the middle ground now? Or have we covered this?
I think that's,
Yeah.
I mean...
So, in terms, is there a time when you've felt that you are in the middle ground? Is this something that you know when you're in, or is this going to have to be something that we try and piece together?
I guess this is where I really struggle with stuff. And I tend to feel that I'm neither here or either kind of over there.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit unknown territory almost. So piecing it together would be a very helpful thing.
Yeah. Okay, should we try that then?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So if we can start with your feelings at the time, what kind of moods do you imagine will be in this ground?
Well, I suppose my fancy is that here I'd just be happy, you know? Or at least to have access to happy thoughts without worrying about them. Really.
Do you want to put that down? That sounds quite a happy thoughts without worrying about them. Okay. And would happy be the only emotion you had around here, or would you have other feelings coming and going, or not?
Well, I suppose in terms of going, certainly here, I still feel a bit anxious in kind of social situations. Nowhere near this point, but I still feel a bit, I feel uncomfortable. So it'd be nice not to feel that. So, and then, when I get up this side, I'm losing that anxiety to the point here where, I think I'm pretty great in social situations. So what would be nice would, in somehow, be able to feel okay in social situations. Or
can I put that down? Feel okay in social. And is that feeling okay, is that having no anxiety at all, or just some?
Well, I don't want to kind of... I don't think it's me to be necessarily the life and soul of the party. So I'm sure that there'll be some situation where I feel a little bit reserved, but I think that I still feel kind of a bit more anxious than I should, at times. So a certain, it doesn't take much for me to feel anxious at work, and a new situation arises, and I've got to stand up and do stuff, and it's very easy to think, you're not going to be able to manage that, or you're going to be crap at it, you're going to fail. People find you feel like you're a fraud, you're fucking rubbish, you don't deserve your job. That kind of stuff.
Those are the thoughts you have.
So that sort of stuff goes on down here.
Yeah.
It'd be nice not to have quite so much of that going on.
Yeah. So kind of a little anxious, but less negative thoughts? Or
Yeah, so I suppose what would be nice would be kind of... So up here, I feel as though I lose any kind of modesty. And then I'm kind of...
So modesty is important, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of modesty almost, so to be modest, but okay,
Yeah, we'll put that down, yeah. Modest, yeah.
Modest, but quietly confident,
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so in this middle ground, at the moment we've got having access to happy thoughts without worrying too much. Feeling okay in social situations. Modest but quietly confident.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It feels like there's a nice place to be.
Right. And do you think where does this stretch, this nice place to be? Does it go all the way from 30 to 70, or is it in a narrower area in the middle here? Or?
Now that's a funny one, because actually it feels as though I kind of constrain myself to these ends, that they're fairly narrow. So that feels big. But actually, so on one hand it feels like it'd be a massive place, but actually it feels as though it's probably the flip side of me feels that it's really tiny little,
Yeah.
just getting it right kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So that's I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
We're
know
not sure.
how long
Yeah.
it is.
Is it that at the moment it seems like it's tiny, but logically it looks like it should be big? It could be
Yeah.
bigger. Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the moment, what number would you give it on this?
What in terms
The
of
range or
the
whatever?
range?
Yeah.
Let's get a big range. Let's give me something to aim at. See, I want to go 40 to 60, that feels too big.
Yeah.
I'm always tempted 45, 55, but I don't know,
You
that
can choose,
kind
yeah.
of...
Okay. So
Or-
45, 55, hovering around 50 there. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've gone through this, and using this continuum, we've labelled now 5 different points on it, haven't we, really? The
Mhm.
0 where you're very depressed, it's an awful place to be. 25 to 30 where you're reserved, doing less but managing to work,
Yeah.
kind of down, not happy. The high end, the mania where you're acting on these beliefs, being linked to God, being extremely self-assured, not anxious at all.
Yeah.
Then down from there we've got kind of 70 to 90 where you're enjoying things more, you're spending more, socialising, having these ideas and fantasy worlds, or
Yeah.
fantasy time, less sleep as well we've got there.
Yeah.
And then we've talked about the middle, which is around 45 to 50, access to happy thoughts without worry, feeling okay in social situations, modest but quietly confident. Does that kind of provide enough, do you think, for us to understand this line? Or is there anything looking at it that's occurring to you? Is there anything more we can do with it, basically?
Well, I think it's a reasonable description of how I kind of experienced it. I guess the key thing is I suppose I feel as I spend a lot of time here. When I'm here, it feels as though I'm spending ridiculous amounts of time that it seems to drag on forever and ever. And then certainly these bits are not very frequent. And that bit feels rarely at all. Whenever I do get there, I'm always worried.
Right. Yeah. Which is, if you could control how long you were in each of these states,
Yeah.
which ones would you want to be in and for how long?
That one and that one.
Right. Just those two.
That'd be
the
nice.
kind of the mid ground and the, what would you? What's this? What do we call this one?
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's that. It's that almost kind of drunk sensation, that
Right.
kind of pleasant, It's more than just being just generally okay and happy. It's that slightly euphoric kind of sensation. It's quite intoxicating in some way.
Right. Okay. So it's kind of like being drunk or slightly euphoric, and would you have 50-50 of those, or would you?
No, no. I think predominantly I'd like
Mainly middle ground.
Mainly middle
Yeah.
ground.
And how much of the time would you want to be in the kind of drunk, intoxicated?
Weekends only.
Weekends only.
Yeah.
For the whole weekend? Or?
Well, maybe nice. I don't know. But is that possible? Is that a feasible goal to aim for?
I guess what we don't know is what you can achieve at the end, but at least if we've got a bit of a roadmap here of what you want. And I guess what we need to work out is how you do get from these different stages, from one to the other, and maybe find out about how it's going, trying to achieve this mid ground, and then, like you say, it's the real worry. It seems that when you think you're getting to this drunk state, that you think presumably it's going to go into the manic state. And so I guess we need to think about how likely that is, and if there are some of these things here that are okay, even if some of them aren't, like socialising or having some ideas.
Yeah.
So we need to work out which bits of those are okay, and which bits are ones you really do need to worry about because of getting more manic.
Hmm.
Does that make sense, or?
No, it makes absolute sense.